Hi everyone, I'm Carol Maglio.
I'm Dr. Ken Gray.
I'm Ronnie Garcia.
Together,
We're at Juice in Essence.
who's having more fun than us? Ronnie's the newest member of our Juice in Essence team.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome, Ronnie.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very, very exciting to be part of the team, and we have a blast. The last few weeks have been great, and very excited about what's to come.
Yes. Ronnie's helping us out. He's doing the wine pairings. So we're really excited to see what you've come up with.
Yeah.
We haven't really, at this point, Ronnie's been working on each of the books
Right.
separately, individual from us. We've gotten together, and we've been working on separate endeavors for the new compilation. But we're excited to get into working with you and doing what we are calling, I believe, the complement and contrast.
Correct. Yeah.
So we will be, in the next couple of weeks, going through each recipe and coming up with that to join in with the juice and essence and birth and balance of every recipe.
Yeah. It's been fun. I think it's been delicious.
Yes.
In a short space of time, I've learned a lot more about wine.
Mm-hmm.
Previously,
Definitely.
we drank wine, we enjoy wine, we love it. It's a passion. But to have an expert like Ronnie, who, he wouldn't agree with that. I think he would just say, no, I just love wine. But to me, he's an expert because he's taken something that he's experienced through most of his adult life, and he's honed it. He's created an art form of it, and he can teach it, which is really the reason why I feel that he brings a structured addition to the Juice and Essence team. I think that anyone reading his writings will be enriched by it, and I think enrichment is part of living a quality, healthy lifestyle, and that's really our premise for creating these book series and the Juice and Essence brand. So thank you again.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm flattered. For my own, I can't see myself as a bona fide expert, if you will. I've had a lot of experience with food and wine over for years and years in the service industry, and finding a passion in wine being something specific that I was passionate about, and really early on realizing the what that brings to a meal and how that enriches and enhances the experience. And the fact that, calling it the complement and contrast, it's really something that I felt was key in that play of food and wine, because of wine that matches certain dishes. It actually enhances the dish, or it stops the dish's progression, if you will, and creates a new experience in the next bite.
Well, you've taught us that in these few weeks that months that we've been working together. When we would make dinner, I would prepare something, and then I think even just last week we had several wines that we could choose from, and you had said, wait on this one because this is not going to stand up to the meal.
Right.
And that's something that we're really happy to learn. And what I love the most is the way you approach it and the way you speak to everyone about it. It makes it usable for every person to go out there to take this information and take the complement and contrast and say, okay, this is the kind of wine I need to buy. They can go to Total Wine, they can go to their local store, Publix even, and find what they need by the way that you word.
Right, and that's a key. I think that's the most important thing. Make it fun and playful,
Right.
and use terminology that is not used within the winology universe, where the tasters and they say it has this quality and that quality and this nose and that and this bouquet and this you swirl the glass and all those swirling of the glass is important. I'd like to deliver why in a more playful way, so that someone who has very little experience with wine could really try it on their own and embrace it and be like
They won't be apprehensive.
start having fun with it, because that's what it's all about. It's not about the all that and the saying how it has the smell of a worn saddle and roasted boysenberry, all of that stuff. It's about what your experience. It's about, I'm trying to find a wine that would go with a particular dish because just years and years of doing it and drinking a lot of wine while eating, understanding that it's not. People think that there's so many different varietals and so many grapes out there, and I don't know what to do. It's really not that difficult because certainly certain wines with certain characteristics work with food. Some wines we can stand at the bar and drink all night.
Right.
But when wine really becomes interesting is when you sit down and have a meal and you have a bite and you drink some wine, and that experience that you have, which is really quite lovely.
Yes,
Yeah.
we agree.
What is the thing that you like most about what we do?
I think that you are on the. I think you're on the forefront of where food is going, because the diet fads and the low carb, the high fat, low fat, high. It's all protein. I think in a very short period of time, maybe even already, people are only waiting for this book to come out and be able to have it available to them because it's healthy. It's good for you. It's good for your, not only because food is so important. For me, food is probably the beyond my children and my wife, probably the most important thing because it's something you have to do every day and want to enjoy it.
Right.
And the fact that you have for me, the Chinese medicine concept is extremely fascinating to me because it's something that I believe in wholeheartedly. But more than anything, what makes it so important? For me, it's the family delivery. The two of you work so well together, and you create these recipes, and you explain why they're good for you. And it's not about restricting yourself; it's about finding a really healthy way of eating, and without having to restrict yourself.
Right.
And it's you can have lobster and short ribs and still have a meal that's well balanced and good for you.
That's the word balance.
Right.
Yes.
And it's good for, and it explains how it's good for your insides and how it's good for your spleen and your back and your all these the skin and I think people will embrace that because that's what people want. They don't want to. They already know about the Atkins diet and the South Beach diet and the no carb diet and all protein. It's like none of these things work. It's about finding a balance in the way you eat, and this book also explains why the things that they prepare are good for you.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I found to be interesting, besides your knowledge and your expertise, is that for years you've worked with, I wouldn't say for, because I think there's a lot of what I love about BJ Palm Beach, which is a historical place, is the touch that you put there.
Definitely.
So I wouldn't say for, that's why I said that you work with, because without your presence, I think it's not as wonderful of a place. The idea behind food, okay, let's touch on that. You not only have drank, you taste a lot of wines, and you obviously have developed a palate, but food is part of your life as well.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
So here we are, we've created these dishes, and we've come up with these unique creations. What are your thoughts about that? How when you tasted our food when we did our winter, release,
Right. The one we did at the restaurant.
Yes.
Being
Yeah.
here and tasting
Yeah.
even more foods, a lot of some of which Carol has done on our own because we're coming, from work,
Right,
she's
right.
taking care of us so that we can work without any hunger, peace of mind that we're coming into a great, her home and a home cooked meal, but using recipes from the book. What are your thoughts? How do they compare to your, your international palate as far as food is concerned?
Well, I guess putting it this way, I've been very fortunate growing up in Sweden and having a Spanish father and a Turkish stepfather and being traveled very early. My father being my stepfather being in the restaurant business as I was young, and my mom being an avid cook. So food was important from day one. I was, tasting dressings and making salad dressings when I was, 3 or 4 years old. So food has always been extremely important. But I'm also of the belief that I have my own things that I like as far as food, and my taste in food is not very complicated. I like simple delivery. I like to be able to have the individual ingredients shine. If I could, if I had an opportunity to live Italian food, for example, for me is very dear to my heart because they really enjoy and celebrate the ingredients when they come into season.
Right.
For me, really having finding a really great ripe tomato, or when the peaches are in season, have that one peach that like blows your mind for the year. You tell your wife, "Wow, do you remember that peach we had like 4 months ago? That was a good peach."
Right.
So it's not about the complexity of food, or it's just, for me, it's simplifying it and bringing it back to the essence of flavor. And the complement of certain flavors together create a great experience. So as far as, I think the question that you had, how my food experience compared to what you guys are doing, I think we're looking at a version of the future. I really do, in the way how people will eat, because like I said, the fads and the way, everybody knows or will know that eventually a well-balanced way of eating mixed with, some exercise is the way to go. You can't restrict yourself and not enjoy, because we're here to live and enjoy. So who wants to live a life and restrict themselves from certain things, and, instead of knowing that you can balance yourself and you can, I'm going to have a big bowl of pasta tonight and salad and bottle of wine, but tomorrow I'm going to have something much lighter, and and tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go to yoga class, or and because you have to, it's all balance, and it's all, it's not a free for all,
Right.
Well, we had just done a talk up on Cape Cod, and one of the women in the audience said, "How does this diet work?" And we had to tell her it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she took that to heart as
It's
well.
nice to get that on film at the end.
It was,
She
yeah.
says it's not a diet.
It's not. Yeah, she's like, okay, it's a lifestyle, and that was huge. I mean, that one statement, I think, really everyone went home with that, realizing that it is definitely a lifestyle. That's how we live our lives, and we try to keep everything in balance, and we don't want to have any food restrictions, especially, so that we can enjoy our lives, and we can maintain our health and our shapes and everything for
Right.
years to come.
Right.
There you go.